all night for Oscar, 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 who will win?
Nobody, because these are the movies nobody liked, and more importantly, I didn't care for them either. Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of AB in the Films. Well, it's Oscar night 2016, which means once again, we gotta take a look at the movies of 2015. And as usual, I always start with the bad movies. Oh yeah, but you know what? Before I started writing down this list and thinking of the movies I saw in the year 2015, I began to realize these movies aren't bad. I know what you're thinking with the lineup of movies we had in 2015 that are considered to be bad, but I don't look at them as bad movies. See, I had an epiphany recently. Quentin Tarantino once said, well actually no, he said this many times in the past, going to the movies these days is like watching television in public. And in a way, he's kind of right. I mean, think about it. When you go to the movies, before the previews start, you have all these commercial tie-ins, and basically commercials that you see on your television set, and ads you see before YouTube videos, and you're seeing them on the big screen. And then the trailers start, and then the movie starts. It's like watching TV in public. It is. And also, about three new movies come out every single weekend. I mean, have you ever thought of this? Usually we have 1 to 3 films coming out every weekend. Every weekend of the year. And a lot of these movies get overlooked because there's so many of them, or they don't get looked at all. And again, it's like watching TV in public, because these 3 new movies coming out every weekend are 3 brand new episodes of the TV show known as cinema. And we go and we watch it, and then we never watch it again. And then we come back the next week to watch a new movie, and it's the next episode of TV. In other words, cinema. So, I'm listening to what Quentin Tarantino's talking about, and I realize, you know, these movies aren't necessarily bad. They're just sad. It's depressing, isn't it? It is. I mean, think about it. Even for all the bad movies, actors, directors, producers, writers, editors, cinematographers, and the guys that wrote the score, the music conductors, they all got paid a salary somewhere in the millions to do this. And the outcome is, it doesn't hold up very well, the acting's not good, the writing's not good, the editing's not good, the movie's not good at all. And that's sad, because that was hours and hours. And here's the thing, I don't look at the money, because money is going to go into a movie either way, but you look at all the time they spent on the movie. These people were working really hard to try to make something, and it didn't quite work out the way that they had hoped. Now, sometimes they try to do stuff their own way, and then the studio gets involved trying to make it their own thing, but that works very well. That always works when the studio takes over, right? So, yeah, here we go. This is the sad of 2015. I did not go to the theaters a lot in 2015. And when a bad movie came out, and I knew it was going to be bad, I didn't bother to go see it. So I'm going to at least give a couple of honorable mentions here. I know they're bad. I'm taking the reviewers online's word for it. I'm taking the critics in the newspapers' word for it. I'm taking Rotten Tomatoes' word for it. I have no interest in seeing any of these films. No interest. So I'm just going to acknowledge that they are bad, because I feel if I don't acknowledge it, well, actually, if I don't acknowledge it, it's not the worst thing in the world. So instead of just ripping on these movies and saying, yeah, these movies suck, you shouldn't go see them, that's not fair. That's not fair to say that to a movie, because I didn't see them, so I can't give them a really good review. That's not fair. If you haven't seen it, you can't review it and just say what everyone else is saying. That's stupid. That's juvenile and that's ridiculous. You have to see the movie for yourself, and you have to talk about it from how you saw it. In this case, how I saw it. But hey, that doesn't mean I still can't give a couple honorable mentions. Terminator Gen Y Sis. I saw the preview, I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm like, this is really depressing. This looks sad. I don't want to see it. Pixels. It got my attention. I heard what people were saying online. I saw Rotten Tomatoes. I realized it's another Adam Sandler movie, and I'm like, yeah, my time is more valuable. Ted 2. I love the first Ted movie. I saw A Million Ways to Die in the West. I thought it was okay. I heard Ted 2 was 2.5 hours. I heard it was a lot of the jokes that Family Guy already did. I heard it was a lot of jokes that A Million Ways to Die in the West already did. And I never got around to it. I'm not saying it's bad, but people say it was okay. It was okay. But it's not fantastic, so it can't... And plus, I hadn't seen it, so... Okay, yeah, it's on this list. Mordecai. When I was going through the list of films released in 2015 to put on this list, I completely forgot about this movie. I remember a lot of people saying, don't see it. And I can't say that, because I hadn't seen the movie. So, but I heard it was really bad. And if I completely forgot about it a year later, that's not a good sign. The Boy Next Door. I'm not a fan of Jennifer Lopez, but that doesn't mean that just because someone who is in it I don't like, doesn't mean the movie is going to be bad. But in this case it is. Yeah, it's just bad writing. It's just bad writing, guys. It's bad writing, it's bad acting. At least that's what I've heard. But I should mention it. Next one. Jupiter Ascending. I saw the trailer. It was the Wachowskis. I do like The Matrix. Do not like The Matrix sequels. I stayed away from it. People have reviewed it since its release. I have no intention of seeing it. Hot Tub Time Machine 2. When I worked at my movie theater, when this came out, I'm not kidding, 10 people went to see it. We had it in the theaters for a week and a half. A week and a half. 10 people went to see it. I was there almost every day. That's how bad. So, you judge that for yourselves. And now we move on to the movies that I did see, and here they are. The Duff. Okay, in the Wedding Ringer episode I said I was not going to see this movie. And I did end up going to see this movie only because I was working in my theater, it was late, and it was after hours, and I said, okay, let me walk in and see this movie. Because the trailer did not sell me at all. Like, the trailer made this movie look like it was going to be a piece of crap. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it is stuff we have seen before. Let me give you a perfect example of what this movie is. It should not have been in theaters. It would have done fine if you had just released it as a TV movie or a direct-to-DVD release. It would have been fine like that. Like, nothing about this movie screams, you know, big screen, movie theater, popcorn. It doesn't scream that, because it's stuff we've all seen before. It stars the, oh crap, I forget her name, but it's the chick from Parenthood, the NBC show, the show Parenthood. It's, I think it's, again, I don't know her name either. I feel like an idiot for not knowing her names. But, the woman from Gilmore Girls, who's on Parenthood, her daughter on Parenthood. Yeah, that's the star of this movie. This is very unprofessional. But yeah, she's in school and she likes this guy and she's unaware of the fact that there's this term going around in high school called the Duff, which means, I think it stands for, if I can remember, Designated Ugly Fat Friend, which, by the way, makes no sense. Okay, this girl is hot. She can get a guy. She's not ugly, okay? She's not. So right there, that doesn't make any sense. Number 2, this is stuff we've all seen before. She has a best friend, and the best friend is trying to help her get this guy she really likes, and that guy turns out to be a dick, and then her and the best friend, where do you think they're going to go in the end? I mean, you see this coming. So there's really nothing new to it. And I remember very little from this movie, but I'm just stating for the record, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it would be much worse. But no, we'd just seen this stuff before. So, yeah, there's the Duff. Next one. The SpongeBob SquarePants Movie 2, Sponge Out of Water. Okay, you're probably asking yourself, AB, what the hell are you doing putting this movie on the bad list, or the sad list, or whatever the hell I'm calling it? Okay, so you're probably wondering, why are you putting it on this list? I mean, you grew up with SpongeBob, surely you must put this on the best list. Well, much like the Duff, I barely remember anything from this movie. I don't remember it. I remember Antonio Banderas being that pirate in the movie. I remember SpongeBob and the gang turning into CG animated cartoons in the last third, and most of it being 2D animation, and I was really happy about that. And that's it! I don't remember anything else about this movie. I don't remember one other thing. But it was better than what I thought it would be. I mean, you know, this is coming out at a time when SpongeBob hasn't been doing very well on Nickelodeon the past 10 years. So I wasn't really that excited to see this movie. But when I went to go see it, I watched it, and hey, I felt like I was legitimately watching SpongeBob again. Was it as funny as the first 3 seasons? No. The first SpongeBob movie is as good as the first 3 seasons. But this, when you compare it to how the show's been in the last 10 years, it's better. It's more enjoyable. A lot more of it is 2D. I thought the whole thing would be 3D animation, because that's the way the advertising was making you look at it. Hell, the poster has them as 3D animated cartoons, but 2/3 of that movie is 2D animation. I felt like I was watching a legitimate SpongeBob movie. And so, though, to be fair, I don't understand it. How come in the first SpongeBob movie, when SpongeBob and Patrick are riding on David Hasselhoff's back, they're in 2D animation, and in this one they're in 3D animation? Now, I know why, because 3D animation's taken over. It's been taken over for a long time. But still, I mean, that continuity, no. So, this movie, it was okay. It was okay. I'm not going to say it was the worst. It wasn't sad or anything, but it's not enough for me to put on the best films of 2015, because I can think of a lot more movies I enjoyed way more than this one, but it was okay. That's why I'm putting it really low on the list. I'm not putting it high on this list. No, because it's not that bad. So, yeah, SpongeBob Movie 2, it was okay. The Good Dinosaur. Okay, this is one of the last ones you're going to see where... Actually, no, this is the second to last one you're going to see where it's kind of a mixed review. The Good Dinosaur. I went to go see this movie. I was really excited. You know, Pixar had just made Inside Out, and... Again, much like the Duff, it's all stuff we've seen before. And I don't understand, like, what was, I don't understand it. Like, Pixar hasn't been doing very well lately, okay? They made Toy Story 3, and they had all these hits before Toy Story 3, and then they made Cars 2, and everybody loses interest in them. And then they make Brave, and okay, a little bit better, and then they make the next one, Monsters University. I didn't like that one too much. I wasn't a big fan of that. I love the short film The Blue Umbrella, but not a fan of that movie. And then they do, what was the one they did after that? They did, oh crap, I can't even think of it. Inside Out. Okay, Inside Out was up next. Inside Out. Great movie! That was one of the best Pixar films, that was one of the best films that Pixar ever made. And then this comes out, and I'm not saying it's an awful movie, it's just like the great thing about Pixar is that they can take ideas that have been done to death a million times, but they put a new spin on it. There's no new spin on it, except for the fact that they're dinosaurs. Like, there's nothing... Again, it's like Cars. They did everything they've done in every movie you could ever imagine, but let's make it Cars. The Good Dinosaur. But I'm not saying it's a god-awful movie. It's not. No. The animation is freaking phenomenal. I mean, when I saw those lakes and those rivers and those streams, I honestly thought I was seeing actual water. Like, it didn't look like animation. It looked like legit water. That is unbelievable how they pulled that off. But Arlo as a character, he's just not... He's not that interesting. We all know he's going to overcome fear. And Spot, his sidekick, I do, and I said this in the review, I do love that scene with the sticks, with the stick figures in the sand. Loved that. But, like, within the first, 15 minutes, I knew where it was gonna go. And it's like, there was no element of surprise anymore, because I knew everything that was going to happen. So, yeah, on that note, I kind of have to put it in this list. So, like, I hope Finding Dory's better. The Wedding Ringer. Okay, I knew it was going to be bad. I knew that... I mean, like, Kevin Hart goes out and pretends to be a best man for grooms that don't have friends. I mean, like, did it take the writers all of 10 minutes to write this screenplay? I mean, my God. Like, and here's the thing, I got nothing against Kevin Hart. He can be hilarious. I love Kevin Hart. I love Josh Gad. I'm a huge fan of the Book of Mormon, so I love Josh Gad, and I love Kevin Hart. And they do have good chemistry together, but it's like, really? We know what's gonna happen here. Like nobody took this screenplay and looked at it and said, hey, why don't we add some creative, funny things to this? Like, it's not... I need to save my energy for the movies that are worse than this, because the list is just going to keep getting worse. Because let me tell you something, people. This was the last enjoyable one that was bad. I really didn't care for this one. But I really, really, really didn't care for the next couple of movies. Go. Knock, knock. I like Eli Roth. Okay? I like Candyman. I actually think Eli Roth can be pretty entertaining as an actor. Inglourious Basterds? I loved him in that movie, opposite Brad Pitt. Loved him in that. And you know what else? I love Keanu. I love Keanu Reeves. We all love him, you know? Like, when I saw the trailer for this movie, if you've seen the trailer for this film, he comes in and his daughters are there and they're playing with him on his bed with his wife, and he's like, chocolate sprinkles! Like that. Right there! Right there! That got me interested in seeing this movie. That was one thing. Because, you know, much like Nicolas Cage, he's so enjoyable to watch as an actor. He really is. So, I got really excited. And then, because, you know, trailers do, these days, what they shouldn't be doing, they gave the whole plot away in the trailer. But, you know, I still was interested in going to see it. So, I saw it on demand when it was finally released on demand, because it was only, I think, a limited release or something on the big screen. So I went to go see it, and I watched it, and I don't know what this movie's trying to do. It's not funny. I mean, like, except for Keanu, who's got a couple good lines. The two actresses that come over to... Okay, well, let me tell you what the story is for those of you who don't know. Keanu Reeves is a guy who's living with his wife and his kids, and his wife and kids have to leave so the plot can start. They leave the house for, like, a business trip or something, I don't know. And these two women, these two young, very attractive girls knock on his door, and it's raining, it's pouring rain, and they're like, our car broke down, can we spend the night in your house? And before you know it, they start having, you know, sex in the shower, all three of them, and then they start doing it on the bed. But then, the next day, the girls don't leave. And they stay there and they torment Keanu Reeves. They torture him. They tie him up to a chair. They ruin his house. And they're all blackmailing him. They'll say, if you say anything to your wife, we videotaped this on our iPhones. We're gonna send this to her if you tell anybody or if you try to run away. And as I'm explaining this, you're kind of getting excited. It's like, wow, this is gonna be a really good movie. It's not, because the way it's executed, these girls, by the way, these girls are freaking psychotic to the point where their acting is just, I think their acting is even worse than Keanu Reeves. And that's saying a lot. But, it's just, it's not that entertaining. And here's what happens. At the end of the movie, after all the torturing and all that stuff that happens to him, you think Keanu is just going to kick the shit out of these girls. And he doesn't. You know what happens? Because they're acting crazy and psychotic and, you know, really silly and everything through this whole movie. And then they suddenly say, oh, we're going to leave now. We're going to leave. They just start acting normal. Like this whole thing was a joke. Yeah, they trash his house. They practically rape the guy. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, wait, no. Wait, are we really doing this? This is how it's going to end? Are you kidding me? After all that shit, this is how it ends. I mean, I love Eli Roth, but man, like maybe he was trying to do something a little bit different because that seemed like the logical way to go, that he would kill these girls, because these girls are looked at as the antagonists of the movie, but they just get their way, which I will admit, it's kind of refreshing to see, because, you know, we never see the antagonists usually get their way in the movie. Usually, when they get their way, that means a sequel is coming, and I hope there's no sequel for this movie, because this movie was not that good. But it's just, like, it's just these girls doing random stupid things to him, and it's just, it gets boring after a while, and you're like, how is this entertaining? Like, maybe, like, okay, maybe the actors are not, well, the actors are not that good, but, are we supposed to be laughing at the horrible acting? Like, I don't get it. So I really wasn't a big fan of this one, I gotta say. I mean, like, I didn't have a nice time watching it. I was fast-forwarding through parts of it. I was so bored. And, yeah, that's Knock Knock. Unfinished Business. Do you guys even remember this movie? This movie had one joke, and it wasn't even a good joke. It had one joke in the whole movie. Dave Franco's name is Mike Pancake. That was the joke. That was the joke. First of all, the movie opens up with, like, we're practically in the middle of a scene. Like, I'm not kidding. The Universal logo, I think it was Universal, because I remember seeing this in the theaters, and I'm like, okay, we're just getting into the movie. There's no introduction, nothing. We're just starting the movie. It's like the editor looked at this film and said, oh, this is going to be bad. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want with this. The Universal logo goes up, and then it just starts. We're right smack dab in the middle of a conversation between Vince Vaughn and one of his co-workers. And we have no idea who this guy is, no idea what he's fighting for, no idea what the company is, no idea who this executive he's talking to is. We have no idea what his character is like, or how he's going to form, or what he's been like, or his backstory, or what got him to this point. We just open in the middle of a conversation, and this is the first 5 minutes of the movie, and you're just thinking to yourself, they better do a flashback scene in the next scene, because I don't understand what the hell's going on. And I know we're only 5 minutes in, and eventually, as the movie plays out, we are going to know what's going on. But even when the movie did play out, I still don't know what was going on, and I can't even remember what's going on. That's how much of an impact this movie left on me. Nothing. I don't remember anything about this movie. All I remember is Dave Franco walking around, acting all innocent and childish and shit. He's got the backpack, and he's got the 2 straps, and, you know, because it's Dave Franco. He's hilarious. But then you have Vince Vaughn and the other guy. I forget the other guy's name. He's the really old guy. He's walking around, and he's a stoner, you know. He's smoking pot and doing coke and shit like that, you know. Because that's funny. It's an old guy doing it. It's funny. And you got Vince Vaughn just being Vince Vaughn, which I'm not against. I mean, Wedding Crashers, that movie's hilarious. Fred Claus I like. I like Vince Vaughn's shtick. But this movie was just, like, I remember so little from it. And that's kind of depressing a little bit, because I feel that they could have done, I forget what the movie was even about. Like, they were going on a business trip or something, and then, like, I don't remember. I don't remember. Next one. Taken 3. Okay, you all thought this was going to be number 1 on the list. No. There's an even worser movie than this. But Taken 3, I am not kidding here. Someone took a look at Taken 2 and said, hey, Taken 2 was really, really good. We need to make a sequel. Taken 2, as far as I'm concerned, is okay. It's not good, but it's okay. Taken 3 is one of the worst films with Liam Neeson. One of the worst action films I've ever seen. One of the worst films I've seen in general. It's a waste of Liam Neeson's time, his acting abilities, and the same thing goes for Forest Whitaker. These guys are very talented, and they're very good at what they do. They're not good in this. They have a bad director, they have a bad writer, who basically just ripped off The Fugitive. Like, I swear to God, the writer saw The Fugitive and said, hey, that's Taken 3. And it shocks me, because the same writers who wrote Taken 3 wrote the first two. Like, I don't know what the thought process was behind this. One of the worst editing in my life. The worst edited film I've ever seen. And I've seen Michael Bay movies. I've seen films that are edited in a way that you can't see the action. But, oh, man. This guy, like, was the guy going through a seizure editing this thing? Not one shot lasts longer than 5 seconds in this movie. Not one shot. There is a ton of shots where the camera will zoom in and out, and it will just cut. Cut to this, cut to that, and we don't know what the hell's going on. These guys don't know how to paint a picture. They don't. Editing is painting a picture. That's what it is. Because that's when the movie starts to come together. And I don't think the editor cared enough to put this together. Well, he probably did care, because he's cutting it very little and he's cutting it so fast all the time, you can't see what the frick's happening. What the is happening? I'm sorry to use language on this show, but this really freaking irritated me. It really did. I hated this movie. Hated it. I hated it when I saw it back in January of 2015. I hated it. I even hated it when I did the review. I took notes. I took notes as I was watching this movie. I never do that. Never. And no one should be doing that. But this movie was just like, wow, is this bad? It was horrible. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on it. You're probably wondering, wow, you're really pissed off, huh? Well, yeah, it was bad. It was a bad movie. And it was sad, too. I mean, like, you had Taken, which is really good. You had Taken 2, which is okay. And Taken 3, which was shit. You know, good. You know, it was started up here. It went down there. It was terrible. So, yeah. Now we get to the worst film of 2015. Y'all know what this is. Say it with me now. 3, 2, 1. 50 Shades of Grey. I need to relax, because this movie is not only bad, it's so boring. And I hated this movie so much. I did. And I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Everybody hated this movie. Okay? The acting, it's not as bad as Twilight, but it's up there. The writing is worse than Twilight, I'll give it that. The directing is not as bad as I thought it would be. The cinematography is fantastic. See, the cinematographer gave a shit. He really cared. He tried to make it pretty good, or she did, or whoever did it. But, I just hope that when 50 Shades Darker comes out, I think that's the second one. It comes out, I thought it was going to come out this year. It comes out in February of 2017. I hope when that comes out, I just hope that they go the Twilight route. Because when you watch the Twilight movies, they do not give a shit because the writing is so bad. And it shows. In 50 Shades of Grey, They know it's bad, but they don't want to admit it. And that was the problem with 50 Shades of Grey. And I think that to make the sequels, for lack of a better word, better, it would be that you have to not give a shit. Because these people did when they made the movie. And that's not how you do 50 Shades of Grey. That's not. You have to not give a shit in order to make it be good. That's how you do it. Just ask anybody. They'll all tell you that. Even the people that like the book. It's just... I hated these characters. Hated this movie. And here's the thing. This movie was not made for me. It's not made for me. I don't know who the hell it's made for. Because even people who are fans of BDSM say this is shit. That's not my thing. But I just look at it from a movie point of view. It was terrible. It was terrible, guys. I mean, like, we all know this is the worst film of 2015. We all declared that when the movie came out in February. Last Valentine's Day when it came out. I think every movie critic online and in the papers that does this professionally has declared this as the worst film of 2015. Maybe one of the worst films of the decade. And we're only halfway through this decade. We're not even all the way into 2020 yet. But it's like, man, like, what the hell did I just watch? Really, that's what you're asking yourself when you watch 50 Shades of Grey. That's what I was asking myself. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I was asking myself. So, and it was just depressing, man. It's sad. Because you know what? Here's the reason why I'm calling it the sad of 2015. These guys tried to make a good situation out of a horrible, horrible book. And to me, that's just depressing. Can you imagine how much more fun it would have been, not only for the people that made the movie, but for the audience to acknowledge that this book is shit, so we're gonna make the film like shit so it'll match the book? See, that's one of the great things that Twilight did that 50 Shades of Grey missed out on. And it's very depressing that they missed out on that, because this would have been a fantastic film for being so bad it's good. But they don't do that. And no, they're actually trying to take it seriously. I mean, well, here's the thing. The first Twilight movie tried to take itself seriously. So maybe it will be like Twilight. I mean, think about it. The first Twilight movie tried to take itself seriously. And then when New Moon came out, you watch it, and you watch the films from that point on, and you're like, oh, this is supposed to be comedy. Okay, alright, now I got it. The 50 Shades of Grey is doing the same thing. The first one is trying to be serious and shit. It's trying to play it off as a serious film. Maybe the sequels, when they come out, because they are coming out, this movie made a lot of money, so that means we're going to get the sequels. Maybe when the sequels come out, they'll do like what New Moon and Eclipse and Breaking Dawn did. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe they will be so bad they're good. Who knows? I don't know. But, well, I've ranted here long enough. Okay, so that is my list of the sad of 2015, and keep watching the Oscars tonight, because up next, I'm doing the happy of 2015 later.